Trevor notices that the whole board's filled with coefficients. Alright, here we go. So, recap. So we did mental because our leading coefficient was a uno. And then when we did mental, we realized that negative 6 times 5 gives us negative 30, and negative 6 plus 5 gives us negative 1. And so then our factors were x minus 6 times x plus 5, and still this problem equals 0. So to solve, I separate them, and what would x have to be in order for this to be a true statement? It would have to be a positive 6. And what would x have to be in order for this to be a true statement? A negative 5. So do y'all understand where our solutions come from now? Any questions about where our solutions come from? Any comments or concerns? Not yet? Still good to go? Alright. Number 2. Can I solve?
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Why not yet?
They're not all on the same side.
They're not all on the same side. So who needs to be moved? Alright, so how do I move it?
Make it a negative.
I'm going to minus 10. I'm going to make it a negative. GCF row by row, column by column. What's the GCF here? X. GCF here? Find 4. What's the GCF here?
3x.
And what's the GCF here? So my factors all 3x plus 2 and x minus 4. And they still equal 0. So to find their solutions, I'm going to bring them apart and they're both going to equal 0. So what would x have to be for this to be a true statement? So I would minus 2, good job. So I have 3x equals negative 2.
Negative 2/3.
There you go. So x would have to be, so that's one of my 0 every time? No. Once you recognize that pattern, is there a need to solve for 0 every time? Because you know the pattern. That's the purpose of a pattern. Alrighty. 3. Are we good to go? So the first thing we should do is find is there a GCF?
Yes.
What is it?
X.
Beautiful. You're so smart. Guitar.
Think about it.
Trevor. Ha. Got it. Greatest common factor is,
X.
so I can take it out, and I'm left with x minus 2. Wow, that made our problem so much easier. So if we separate these, this one would have to be x equals 0, and this one would have to be x minus 2 equals 0. So what are our solutions?
Oh, wait.
You see 2, right? Yeah.
Huh? Okay, so one of our solutions is 2, and what's the other one? 0. You look confused, Nicholas.
How'd you get X minus 2?
How do I get x minus 2? Because I factor out the x, and 2x divided by x is 2.
2. Oh, okay, yeah. I
You see it?
Yeah, I forgot the G.
So 3 was that hard?
No.
No, you probably would have overthought it if you hadn't did what first? GCF. You would have overthought it, like, man, there's no C. I can't do this problem. There's no answers. And you probably would have just said it for a long period of time. But there's no need. Don't fret. Just find greatest common factor. Alright. 4. Can I go?
No.
No. Why can I not go?
And you have
Well, one I have a GCF, but what's the other reason?
they're all the same.
They're not equal to 0. So I want to keep this positive, so what am I going to move?
The 4X plus.
So if it's a positive, it's going to become a. Now this equals 0. Alright, now we talked about what? GCF. And what is my GCF? Dose. Okay, so my GCF is 2, so I'm going to factor out 2. Factor out 2. And when I factor out 2, I'm left with what? Alright? Well, I need to get rid of that 2. If I multiply my 2, how can I move it to the other side? I'm going to divide by 2. But what happens when I divide by this 2?
It's not the X squared.
0 divided by 2. So now, is that 2 even a worry for us anymore? By 2. So, now what kind of factoring is this? Mental. So we took something that was big and made it small, and now we can do it like a easy peasy thing. Alright, negative 12. What is it? What are my magic numbers? Negative 6 and positive 2. Because negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. And negative 6 plus 2 is negative 4. What am I? X minus 6 and x plus dose equals 0. So what is my solution? Beautiful. You're so smart. Comes in my eye. Alright, let's get a little harder. Alright, this one is the bottom one. We're absolutely the same. So if you need some extra writing room, look at it. You can look at it. CNS quarter of the square root symbols that got jacked up a little bit. Alright, so in this space, if I have square root of 8, it's the same thing as saying square root of 4 times square root of 2, right? And what's the square root of 4? 2. Is there a square root for 2?
No.
So it's just 2 square root of 2. So I'm going to have a minus operation and I'm going to have a plus operation. So that's my factor. So my answer would be x equals plus or minus 2 square root of square root of 2. If it just asks you for the factor, that will be your answer. But because it asks you for the solution, basically, this is it. How do we feel about taking square roots and simplifying them?
Alright.
A little sketchy on it?
Next one.
Alright, let's do the next one. The next one should be easy. I want you to do that one. Alright, next one. It's on you, homeschool. So my answer would be what?
X equals.
There we go. Good job, Brittany. Once you did this one, could you end up doing this one in your head? And what y'all do for the last one? There you go. Alright, on your homework, please show some kind of work. Don't just write answers. And that is it. You actually, if you understand today's lesson, you should be able to finish your homework in the 10 minutes you have left.